Next up, we've got Phoenix King versus SBP here in the quarterfinals of Faction Master Tournament. Let's get to it already because Phoenix King's Beastmen have seized the high ground here on this conquest on Alpine Ridge. And it's a Beastman, mostly Vanguard. He's got a great Shaman lore of Wild here. Gore Herds and Destroyers of Drakwald up front. Looks like Ungor Raiders. Second line, we've got some Centaurs, Razorgores out on the flanks, and Butchers of Kalkengard here in the center. So, pretty meaty build, certainly a pun intended. And Azazel is leading the Warriors of Chaos for SPP here, or SPB, I don't know. We got Marauders in the front line, with some Forsaken out on the flanks, Rot Knights, including the Rotting Riders, very cool choice. A couple of Hell Striders as well, it looks like, with the Hell Scourges, and some Marauder Horsemen threatening the left flank here. So, yeah, SPP kind of like, yeah, amassing quite a bit of value in terms of the two Rot Knights, you know, the Forsaken out on this flank. There's quite a bit of punching power here. He's got the Marauder Horseman kind of supporting, doing some skirmishing right now. The Vein of Slanesh going to draw one of these Centaurs out into an unfavorable engagement. Perhaps, yep, definitely against the Rot Knights. Going to be unfavorable. Azazel himself drops down. Razorgores are going to rush in. We see more Centaurs piling in here as well, so not going to be a complete pushover engagement, but certainly that Centaur that got drawn out there will take quite a bit of damage. Marauder Horseman also piling in. But it's going to be an excellent opportunity for Phoenix King to throw down some Trader Kin. Hits lots of low model count units all at the same time. Azazel, of course, being one of them, but also these Rotting Riders in particular. They'll be able to heal through some of that damage, but still nice to kind of equalize that fight a little bit here. One Centaur was lost kind of regardless, but Butchers of Kalkengard also swing up to respond, aren't quite able to make it into contact. For the Rot Knights pull away over here. It looks like those Gore Herds missed their charge, getting charged instead by the Forsaken. It's definitely not great. Both units have pretty high charge. They definitely want to just charge each other. But the Forsaken generally will be trading very well here against the low armor of the Beastmen. They themselves don't have a ton of HP, don't have a ton of staying power, but going to try and utilize their speed, countercharge over here, and help help with this engagement here in the center. But a nice timely charge by some Centaurs interrupts that. Out on the flanks, Hell Scourges tangling with Gore Herds. Not going to be a super efficient engagement for them, especially under fire from the Ungor Raiders there. But both sides scrapping pretty hard. Right now, Warriors of Chaos with their superior value out on this left flank. They got some terror-causing units here. It's pretty much just the Rotting Riders, I believe. But, yeah, able to get some kind of leadership breaks, start to isolate some of these units and take them down. But right now, balance power maybe slightly favoring Beastmen. This Forsaken on top of the hill got completely eaten up by Butchers of Kalkengard. And they're now going to get a nice little downhill engagement against the Rotting Riders here. With the Razorgores, with everything else, not going to be a particularly great engagement for the Warriors of Chaos. We see Trader Kin popping off again as well, I think, right? Yes, something. Oh, just a devolve, okay. Significantly decreases the melee attack speed, leadership of the Rotting Riders, but isn't going to lead to them taking direct damage like this will. You see, there's the Trader Kin, even further debuffing their speed. Those two stacked on top of each other, nasty little combination, at least short-lived, but yeah, it does allow a lot of their unit models to get caught up here and potentially taken out. Meanwhile, Warriors amassing over on this side, coming through, killing the Gores. You got Razorgores fighting on top of the Destroyers of Drakwald here for a pretty potent combination, but largely, yeah, we've got this other Rot Knight here riding free, able to come in and destroy. The Gore Herds are trading reasonably well, the Gore Herds with shields for a little bit extra, excuse me, defensiveness. But yeah, these Rot Knights here, basically unopposed. They're going to take maybe some damage from the Razorgore Herds, but nothing too crazy. But both players kind of cleaning up their respective sides of the hill and looking to potentially reform their ranks to get another engagement going here. Over on this side, pretty bad situation for the Rotting Riders to be soloed out like this. They get another devolve hitting them, allowing them to be caught. They actually drop their move order here, and yeah, I mean, their passive regeneration... yeah, it is standard regeneration. Will help them somewhat here. Of course, they've got their damage resistance ward save up as well, so, you know, they're not taking massive damage, you know, like burst style, super fast, but Overtime should get ground down there. We'll have to check back on that in just a minute. But the rest of the Beastmen forces looking a little bit scattered here. We've got some Ungor Raiders kind of forming up into a little block. But it looks like we're going to see a Pavane on one of them. Or no, actually on the Razorgore herd. Moves in as a blocking detachment. Is only going to be able to block for so long under the damage of the Pavane. And of course the Anti-Large from the Rot Knights themselves. Those Razorgores get taken out in a pretty big hurry. The Ungor Raiders aren't really able to get a lot of meaningful damage in that time. I don't know, maybe they should have taken shots at Azazel, considering he doesn't have any armor. But yeah, Rotting Riders get taken out, but a lot of these high-value units for the Beastmen are taking some time to do so, which means they're not able to come help in other engagements here. Looking pretty decisive in the center, as the Gore Herds and the Ungor Raiders could just get crushed under the mobility of Warriors of Chaos. Marauder Horsemen coming in to assist the Rot Knights here, as Gores go flying across the screen, tumbling down the hill. Brutal stuff for the Beastmen. They just lost out quite a bit of troops there. Those Ungor Raiders in particular would have been quite nice to have into the late game. And leadership-wise, the Warriors of Chaos, even though their troops are like equally as tattered, largely doing quite a bit better. They've still got this one very healthy Rot Knight. And I guess Butchers of Kalkengard are kind of their counterpart here for the Beastmen as the one kind of remaining healthy unit, but Beastmen here losing out on a lot of support. We'll fast forward a little bit through this pursuit phase as Warriors of Chaos kind of pursue all across the field. Some units that manage to come back within the vicinity of the Lord here, and these other supporting units are going to be able to recover their leadership and come back and contribute. But let's see here. Warriors of Chaos going for the objective. This is Conquest after all, and Phoenix King's getting a reasonable amount of Conquest points. This does put Beastmen in a little bit of a tougher position where they're forced to attack uphill. Not going to be ideal by any means. The Rotting Riders immediately or the Rot Knights rather, crash down the hill into the Razorgores, the Gores, everything else. The Beastmen, mostly large at this point, going to be punished pretty badly in this engagement. Butchers of Kalkengard should be able to hold with their high melee defense, but yeah, even the Great Bray Shaman getting terror routed here by Azazel. Pretty rough. Balance of power swings pretty heavily now into the Warriors of Chaos' favor for the first time. And Butchers of Kalkengard holding very admirably, but they themselves don't have the highest damage output, especially exhausted as they are. Only 33 melee attack, with no kind of bonus versus large or anything else. They'll definitely get some damage in, but a little Traderkin should help their engagement pretty significantly. It's going to finish off those Hellstriders, do a good amount of damage to Azazel, kind of forces the Rot Knights away, try and preserve some of their unit models, and maybe get as much healing as possible. Bray Shaman does come back from route, surrounded by Marauder Horsemen. He might get some Centaurs and Razorgores here. Centaurs briefly have their leadership pop up, so they get their Rowdy passive once more for perfect vigor. And yeah, that Marauder Horseman is done for, but as we check back in, the Butchers of Kalkengard getting charged once more by the Rot Knights, and Azazel himself providing some really strong single-entity damage. Yeah, you can see him just lances a couple of weakened models down for the Butchers of Kalkengard, and they are very quickly, half unit models already, getting routed here, and I think that's basically the end for the Beastmen. We'll see. Maybe they can come in here and deliver some kind of strike on these Rot Knights, try and stabilize things, maybe get the Butchers of Kalkengard back from route. We do see another devolve there. It's going to, again, impact their melee attack. Once that charge bonus wears off, they'll be pretty low, but still, 15 melee attack plus 10 bonus versus large against a lot of these units. It's an effective enough amount of melee attack to still get through and get some damage in. But the Butchers do come back. We're going to see a Pavane on them to get them back in the fight as soon as possible. And, of course, provide a little bit of damage as well. They charge in here, and the Rotting Riders manage to get, like, a direct countercharge order, it looks like. Perhaps? No? Ooh, they had a movement order. That's tough. And now they get a charge order, maybe to move in on the surround. Bray Shaman, Lore of Wild, is not really liking the situation right now. If he had a Traderkin left, this would be a perfect time to use it. No, I like the debuff of Devolve. I think, hard to say, for me to kind of backseat game this, but I might have just saved all my Winds of Magic only for Traderkins, considering the power of these Rot Knights, and the Beastmen didn't really have a lot of great tools to deal with them, but one more Traderkins cast here to try and save things, but it's not going to be enough as the Bray Shaman himself routes in a close victory. Very close victory here by SPB from the ODM clan, and quite a fun matchup and fun builds, honestly. I love to see some nice Forsaken play, even if they didn't really do a lot here. It was mostly the Rotting Riders and the regular Rot Knights, even more so, that carried the value of the engagement pretty heavily. Butchers of Kalkengard could only be in one place at a time. They countered the Rotting Riders, but then the other Rot Knight got through. Yeah, 28,000 damage dealt, 3,200 gold value, 228 kills. Absolutely spectacular performance from the monstrous heavy cavalry of Nurgle. And yeah, Marauder Horsemen, 1,000 gold value on one of them. Just probably the best skirmish cavalry in the game right now, largely. Like the Marauder Horseman suite, I would say, the various types that they have access to. They're just so efficient, so great for what they give you. Brave Shaman Lord Wild, pretty cost-effective choice considering how much damage he's able to generate with that Traderkin. Ultimately wasn't enough to win the day for Phoenix King, but a very admirable attempt here. Yeah, Ungor Raiders get their value back just shooting, even though tactically would have maybe liked to have a little bit more from them, but the Razorgors and the Centaurs in particular had a little bit of a letdown. The Razorgors are a little bit cheaper, so it's a bit easier for them to pay for themselves, and a couple of them do. But yeah, overall, very close battle. Just really these Rot Knights really carrying the game, as well as Azazel, of course. Very strong lord in the hands of a good player. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We're going to be next going to Game 2 between these two, so stay right here. Don't go anywhere. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.